So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to a Division 2 video. And yes, that little snippet that you just heard, the confirmation that Division 3 is on its way, is from Julian Garrity, the executive producer of the Division franchise. And this was in an exclusive interview with the new Games Plus showcase yesterday with Jake Lucky. I will recommend you to watch the full interview, but today I want to touch on a few things gameplay related, survivors, and then of course that little extra information, or better said, little extra confirmation that they are working on the Division 3. Julian starts with introducing himself, what he did and is doing within the gaming industry, and of course, gets a little intro within the Division universe, especially within the Division 2. Then Jake asks him about all of the feedback and the communication between us, the community. And Julian doubled down and said that we as a community are a big part in how the Division is shaped, especially now with the Division 2. A lot of PTS is going on, as we know, where we can play the game earlier, give feedback before the game goes live for everyone. And it's a huge part of our strength. And then he also mentioned that a select few of the ETF, the Elite Task Force, are getting invited to Sweden in February to probably play the first build of Survivors, but let's listen to what he exactly has to say.
There's no doubt that there's constant dialogue with members of the community. We have a special, community group called the Elite Task Force. We have Discord with them. There's a lot of pre-release stuff shared with them. We're going to have a big session where we're going to bring these community members to Sweden because we're based in the darkest area of the world in Sweden. It's great. I love it. It's been 12 years, so I really love it. We're going to bring them over here in February for some pretty cool, pretty exclusive stuff. It'll be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I am because I'm the executive producer. So I've only got myself to blame at the end of the day, but they'll be playable of things that we've announced and maybe even things that we haven't announced. So we're really going to extract as much feedback as possible from these very precious members of the community.
So that is awesome to hear that people are gonna get a chance to play something that they also did not announce yet. So much more to come for the Division universe. I am so freaking excited. And then of course Jake had to ask about Survivors itself. The new survival game mode coming this year. Of course mirroring survival from Division 1, but with a few upgrades. And Julian had to say a few interesting things about that as well.
So what are we doing? Like, we can't rest on our laurels, our 10-year-old laurels from survival. So we're reimagining it. We're bringing this snowstorm, this weather change to Washington, D.C. And that's something that you've never seen in Washington, D.C. We're going to transform the entire map. We're thinking about it in a very different way with innovations that haven't been seen yet. I can't talk about them today because we have a long communication thing, but there's a focus on this to make it such a different feeling experience from the core Division 2 experience. And I played it this week. We had our third playable build. It's really shaping up. So it'll take the time that it takes, but I think we've got something super, super promising here. Is developed with Magnus Jensen, who is the original Division 1 creative director. So this is a guy who lives and breathes the Division. He's so excited about jumping into this type of game mode again. And he knows the community, he knows the audience, he knows the gameplay. And there is a hint in the title of something that we're going to be doing really differently from everybody else.
And I want to pause it real quick because that's an interesting thing to say. There is a hint within the name survivors. Of course, there is a lot of thought around it. Are we the only survivors? Natalia pressed the red button. She thought, I'm cornered. Y'all going with me, and we're coming back to a full snow-covered DC? Or is it because we need to help survivors within the game mode? We need to get certain NPCs out of the game mode to then extract with them. So for me, it's curious to see what it will be, and it might not only be about us getting out of there. We maybe need to take some survivors. And before we get to the little Division 3 part, there was a very interesting question from Jake if the Division Survivors is kinda mirroring or borrowing things from newer games, like for example Ark Raiders, the extraction shooter that is more than hot right now. And he had a very interesting response because, of course, not many people know that the Division 1 with survival was kind of the first type of this genre, the first type of survival, the first type of extraction shooter. So a lot comes down from the Division 1. And he had a very interesting response to why they do look at other games, but also don't look at other games.
I think we're always focused on how do we build on what we have and surprise ourselves. The industry moves so fast that if we take inspiration from this game or that game, that's really chasing trends. So we're really focused on how do we take what we did 10 years ago in survival, adapt that to the Division 2, adapt that to Washington, D.C., adapt it to a new audience, but also bring some brand new things that have really never been seen before.
So yeah, that's a very interesting response, and I agree, right? You can't keep mirroring other things, and like I mentioned before, a lot of things are already coming from the Division 1, so I think it's a very strong answer, especially because we as a Division community want that as well. It's built on something that we know that already works. It's just making it bigger and better than before. And now, of course, Division 3. Unfortunately, we didn't get that much information. The Division 3 part of the interview wasn't that long because, yeah, Julian can't tell us that much. But we at least have, again, an official confirmation that they're really working and building the Division 3 at the moment. And that's already a huge W. We had a kind of confirmation that they're working on a team for the Division 3 like a year to almost 2 years ago, but that was pretty much it. We never really got an official confirmation that they're still or are working on the game, or we're still working on getting a team together. So if you ask me, this is a huge W, and we have a bright future ahead for the Division universe. So let's listen to Julian what he had to say about the Division 3.
So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that, but this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1 was.
So yeah, the Division 3 is shaping to be a monster. That is definitely a good quote. Jake was right about that one. Those are definitely some good words to hear about the Division 3. And then they ended the interview, of course, talking about Division Resurgence, the free-to-play mobile game coming to the Division universe on any mobile platform, or you can play it throughout an emulator on PC, and it's a bunch of fun. A different version of the Division again, as this story will be in between Division 1 and Division 2. Completely new enemy archetype. It's gonna be fun to play. Free to play as well, so we can definitely dive on it and try whenever it comes out, and we will keep you informed on that as well. But that's pretty much it. Again, I would recommend you to jump over and watch the full interview. I will have it in the descriptions down below. As of course, this is a little bit more cropped up. The whole interview takes around 20 minutes. But now, of course, I want to know your opinion. Hit me up in the comments down below. Division 3 officially announced again, kind of. Some extra information about survivals. People are flown to Sweden to test it out within February. A lot of interesting news, but also not as much news as we hoped for. There is still one thing coming up this weekend, the 11th and the 12th, especially the 12th. On FPS Day in Japan. Apparently there will be a game mode playable on FPS Day. That's in a couple of days. We will keep our eyes on that one. But this was also a very good interview with Julian. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. Like the video if you liked the video or helped you out in any way or form. And of course, if you're new here and or you want to be updated by the Division 2, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next one. Pure Prime out.